those my pictures. Those my pictures on my graduation day, last 5 years. And these ones I took pictures on it in about next year. And I just try to look for the pictures. So I look forward to it. It's so awkward. It is so. I'm so awkward about last 5 years. And Miss Howell and Miss McMullen and Miss Cushy, and he was activated to when my activated. He's trying to look for his pictures. So for now, too late now. I told Miss Saint Canella, and she says looking for the picture, looking for the man for the picture for his photographers for reasons. Frankie was in a picture after graduation about 7 years. Chris does half of the graduation in the last 9 years, and even Justin graduated from about Rogers High School last 7 years too. That was possible. Washington State lose to Washington, and they're still 13 and 21, 31, and it's hard to beat against to UW Huskies, and then I didn't make it try to find a Pac-12 channel for the HD, so Washington State lost. So Ava thought Maddie, Sharia, and Claire and Tristan, Ryan, Diego and Brendan, and Jordan and Casey. It's so much that he didn't like it to lose to a WSU Cougs. Don't worry, my friends. We'll be there next year from about 2020. So and this is my evoluted to 2013 and 2014 school years, guys. So when I was in a senior year, I conclude, and my friends and the family, those who caught on tape about security cameras on the Amarillo high schools. They created about 50 years. He concerns it about Mr. Lowney was concerns to all the things about principals and teachers and staffs and coaches, and however which just have the activities and schedules, including athletics, do the sports, do the trainings, do a workout just like wrestling did. So, but I thought Fox Mullen was just ever goes to for the volleyball coach with her daughter Jenna, and she has 2 daughters, her husband and Mr. Mullen and Fox Mullen. They're good guys, huh? I'm gonna say surprise, guys. I just want to say we missed you. We missed you all. Hello, mateys. This is Discovery Scouts and Pirates of the Caribbean Film Series here. Simon Perryman here. And today is Friday, November 29th, 2019. And tomorrow will be the last day of November today on this fall. And today is a Vice Day. And we talked about the first period of the class of ERHS, which means we got to do something about every day. Every day we always stand and rise with the Pledge of Allegiance. Every time, and we just stop at about 15 to 30 seconds. And there's in a matter of fact about 15 seconds every day. So I work for the Miss St. Canella, Miss Loudigan, Mrs. Dillon, Mrs. Denson, Mrs. Layton, Mrs. Renee, and Miss St. Canella, Mrs. Schrader, Mrs. Height, Miss Jennifer. I don't know those staff is, and I this is my boss. This is my boss. Cross country coach here, track and field coach here. Mrs. Osborne here, and Mr. Hibbs, the marine resources, Mrs. Mallion, and the ceramics class, and former Frankie's advisory, and my former advisory, Mrs. Parks, just moved to into different high schools, so she parted ways at about 3 year minimum wage on her paperwork contract. Then Connie moved to about last 5 years. 3 years in the high school with the Rogers High School security here, and maybe I thought about Connie was the good security, the good friendliness security here, and he's a security officer, so he's sure that half what we supposed to be did, and lovely guys who really happy to see this plan. So I don't know. I don't know who has when I came to the homecoming dance. So I sure it does. I feel like I don't feel like to lose some my the black jacket during the homecoming after the homecoming dance. So I feel awful to be lost my wallet and my phone and my other dance tickets. So it's just cost about this $950 $1,000 fine. Um, I couldn't even find it about last 6 years. Most of it possible. If they have lost and stolen, I have the hiatus and about all the offering to the hiatus in about last 6 years. A lot of my friends so had to find my wallet and phone. So and those are my old ones. It could be one of the orange ones at about last 3 years ago. My wallet's at whereabouts about 3 years too. And my black jackets couldn't even find it in about 2 years. Since after I went to completed in the varsity letter of community service. When I joined in about community service club for the Fuji Junior High Schools for the last 9 years, then my basically I was in the honor society. I was in the honor society, and I worked for those Mrs. Boson for my issues for society opportunity, and then although Mrs. Nair was figuring that out from the Mrs. McLawn, so when I came down the Anorak Key Club on down here on the First Christian Church, so with Miss Cushy, Mrs. Johnson, and Howard, Miss Johnson, she's a great principal, and Jason Gray became the principal at Howell. She was replacing Mr. Lowney there. She's still on the Puyallup High School Vikings here, to still the principal here. Like proposed to, she likes it what you know. I think I thought about we hoping for you guys. I thought hoping for you guys who reality about the good reality here, the good families and friends. That's gonna be a long story. Those things about misfortunes on the first through sixth period, last first through third lunch. That could be confirmed in about 40 minutes. Second lunch also thinks at about 40 minutes less, and that it could be about the third lunch at about the 40 minutes less. So unless in that you have to supposed to be we talked about those I said there are those guys on and around the circle tables interaction about those that are the hopeless, those that we work for it, and so I've been working for the marine resources and Arden Designs, Arden Designs, and design class, ceramics, and ASL is very hard. It's gonna be hard six. That gotta be hard six. Could be in most of the streaming. So I think ASL is good for about the first time when I started doing the senior year. So Jared's opportunity in ASL is about 3 years. I impersonate for ASL class and Mr. Knoll. So I impersonated for about Jared's class about 6 years. I don't think about to uh schedules today during the school years. It's kind of surprised about 9 years of schedules time. So when I go to the personal fitness at about 5 months ago, 5 months ago, since we're doing it in the New Year's at about 2 New Year's in 2014. So after that, so if you thought twist in the book, Ryan, Diego, Brendan, Jordan, Casey, and Brendan, Alexi, and Justine, Haley, Jordan, Kelsey, and not if it includes Ryan and if it includes like Ryan's to all my friends do. So we have a choice to every one of you, each one of you, and we just have the whole life of my friends, and the whole life of the good people. So if I thought about even thought I worked for those guys about during lunch breaks and the 40 minutes ago. If I saw with our own eyes Miss Tomaszek own eyes with Miss Tomaszek, the great para educators, Miss Renee, Miss Layton, Miss Loudigan, Mrs. Dillon, and Sarah and the machine wheelchair, Katie and Samantha and Sandy, Ryan, then my good homies Deshaun, that's the real homie Marcus, Goy, we have Gory, Marcus, and Justin and Samar. The whole friends all they do. So they do the most extremely high mostly. Even thought Kayla was moved to her new home. So Kayla Franks wasn't taller. She was taller than about 5 feet 11 inches. So she was saying everything. So also good friends, also good frenemies. So even though I run about with the foot and legs and arms and arms and back in the necks. So one of the greatest characters. So mostly thought about 3 years of the ERHS characters. Mostly with a formation to we can consider to first through sixth period, and we worked so hard for about SAT during the eighth grade. Always do SAT book to opportunity with the computers and phones, and included the study for the including studies notebook for during the math, reading and writing. Sometimes every 3 hours ago. All things we could be understand have the same everything and everything. That could be half of the offering for help you things about themselves without the unsacrifices, and those things every time for about yearbook each is the size. yearbook every summertime. So most of it thought even thought about Miss Tomaszek, Mrs. Schrader, and Miss Renee, and Miss Layton, and Miss Dillon, and Miss Lounigan. And even though Miss Beyer was retires to last 4 years and since 2016, then maybe I thought about Javon. Maybe thought about as just a real name, but a good friend in here, Javon, Jeremy, Donovan, Kaisa, Micaiah, Sierra, Steven, Jordan is my good friend, and Connor, and that means to Connor, and sometimes we're just having the most extreme there. I have Kyle here with the machine wheelchair with the para educator here, so Emma was been joined working harder about reporter on the Key Z on the Eugene, Oregon. So expectationally, Carly was where to the UW. She was a UW University, UW of University. So she was being the most extreme work on being extreme while she's doing it sterilization during the 4 years of class, and what I saw with her own eyes when I'm working out for YMCA. She is a tough girl. She is a very greatest tough girl ever met for the first time since 8 years ago. Even though with Chandler has her one of the children, his wife, and I beloved her for anybody when I came into the Walmart, when I came into my former cart, when I came to my former work, and since we do something about most extremely mortgage to knows that we it knows about doing it what we could. So even thoughts to me, thoughts to you, and thoughts to no one else to go to the mission trips, employments, college, and university out of states. Even thought that we can show you something about could have taken it below. So I just wanted to show you something in most of streaming. So I could edit this one to reaction there. So I could say everything. I just took home. So I can make it to take away to anything else. So I can take it back. So I can take it back to our ERGHS advisory all newspaper. So and don't even think about to do everybody to secret. So the backstabbing was bad. Talking trash is bad, and savages and most savages are really bad. So even thought about we appreciate to MA driving school come to drive with us. So that's a cost of 480 through 500 prepaid. So even without July 30th to September 22nd, 2014, even thought about every $500 prepaid on the driving test at about 340 to 6. What I think about June 22nd through August 21st, August 26th to October 14th, MA is a great place to take the knowledge and drive test. So it's gonna be hard. So also harder said about this would be good. So I get payment to understand. I understand was to say anything. So she says to she was a former reporter of Megar Bjorn Demphil. So I could read this one to the Rome, travels to some Rome, Paris to Hawaii, to the parts of the world, like I said. So I can make it go to the Hawaii go to the Rome with Italy, Italy of Rome. Rome is all right there. It could be about closer than the Mount Vesuvius. I read this about 5 years ago. Go to the either the Guam, California. California is good. California is doing good. So doing a good job there. The Los Angeles, and Anaheim. Disneyland is pretty good. Paradise, pretty good. With the Paradise, funds, they're fantastic. So Hawaii is very good. This is Hawaii is under the Paradise. They have access there on the island here. So I haven't seen access tags and those. It could be around there when I went there. They're about 8 to 9 years. I could read that this one the reaction there to my the retake. Senior reviews the plans they are made to the travel the country and world for after graduation from last 5 years. Senior trips. Many senior dreams that once they graduate, they can grab and a few of the closer friends and set off to their dream destination. Some travel to Rome, Paris, Hawaii, the other parts of the world. In conclusion means Germany. The closing means to go to Germany in about 3 weeks. Korea and India is right closer, and those are the Hindi peoples. And Asia, those are the Asian peoples. China, Russia, Africa, the Egypt, Mediterranean, and Greece. However, all the 50 parts of the world, and we could go to the Italy this time. So go to the London, England, and United Kingdom, Scotland, and Dublin, Ireland, and then others prefer to go somewhere a little closer to home, like Los Angeles, California, and Lauderdale, Florida, or New York City. And she says, Moni Buzin, she's a good friend. She has a few places in the mind for her senior trip. I haven't decided yet, said Manibusa said, but I either going to go California or Hawaii. She says although some travel with friends, Manabusan prefers to go it alone and explore each destination at her own place or on her pace. I'm not going with my friends, and said Manabusan. I'm planning to either go with my cousins, Zena Marcus Harris. He says my good friend is also decided for the planning his senior trip. I headed down to the California with some of my best friends, said Harris. We're definitely going to celebrate the fact that we don't have to go back to high school anymore. Harris plans to spend more time in California shooting hoops with the basketball, hanging out with his friends in his house, and exploring the beach in California before heading to college and basketball program. And he just graduated about last 4 years. I just want to be able to celebrate the fact that I made it through the high school and graduated with a real education, said Harris. Some dropped out before they even hit their senior year. I made a promise to myself that I would stick with it and get my diploma, and that's exactly what I plan to do. Senior, that's me. Simon Perryman, thrilled and ready to travel after graduation, plans on spending his time traveling Europe with his family about 2 or 3 weeks. Concludes about the Germany, France, and Germany and France. My whole family is going with me, and I am super excited, say Perryman. All my families were going to be there for 2 weeks. I love traveling, so I be sure to take tons of photos while I'm there. Those of you who need to get away and celebrate to end the terrific high school experience are finally able to take time out for themselves and venture to their favorite destination with their friends and families before they move into the new college dorms. So probably it's hard. Probably it's harder to get a job. So maybe I thought about having to get this job done. Get this job yet. So I had to get to the college first, including Tacoma Community College or Pierce College. So even thought about Eastern Washington. It's 2 years in the dorm. UW has a dorm. Central Washington has a dorm too. WSU has a dorm. It could be costed away. So sometimes. So although I have a Miss Mallory in class, so I had the rest of some of the stories about the below you guys. So Miss Launigan still has the third period times, and Mrs. Dillon too, which means I work for Jordan and Mrs. Dillon and Mrs. Laugan and Miss Layton. That's what it's supposed to mean. So story one, lifetime of the 5 years. Creating pottery pieces is an art that comes easily to the hands and mind of the senior, Amanda Thomas. Since the third grade, after Thomas' arts teacher put her on the pottery wheel, she became passionate for ceramics and has developed into the skillful, intricate artist. She has the original conceptual gifts that I think she really showcases, especially now she's going above and beyond. She's always challenged herself, said ceramics teacher Jamie Mallion. She's my good teacher. One of Thomas' gifts, she demonstrates her arts of her eye for intricacies and details. She has created several pieces that have included details in design and out of the box creative thinking. Thomas mainly thinks intricate styles, inspirations from creatures and ideas in Greek mythology. She also read a lot of the material from the horror genre and watches many horror movies that have influential art. I like architecture, like old Greek buildings and stuff, and abstract concepts. They have a lot of lines and texture to it, but I don't really focus on artists, said Thomas. Anything from the random picture on the internet to the spontaneous idea in the middle of the night was sparked Thomas' artistic genius, and I do a lot of it just freehand and out of my mind, said Thomas. I don't use reference pictures unless I'm trying to get the exact details because it's like paying homage to something, but besides, that's all just out of my mind. Although Thomas does not focus on having a particular inspiration, her mother has been an accused motivator by posting all of the Thomas artwork on Facebook. Um, this allows Thomas to be aware of the details in perfecting her piece because she knows other were being seen after having taken a 5 semester of ceramics. Thomas took in the art history class for 1 semester. However, despite the short break from ceramics, Thomas' skills only increased from this class. I look at them more as a die concept than little individual pieces because I know exactly what goes into the art and how the original artist thought about it, having been in the class for so many years. I have changed a lot. Thomas' technique has shifted dramatically since her sophomore year. She no longer works with her clay on the wheel, the same way that abstain from using the bright colors in the pieces. She just continues to grow and grow to make more amazing things, saying Mrs. Mallion. When she finally makes me her assignments, it's just like, oh my gosh, that's just fantastic. Because Tommy is so advanced in ceramics, she has a lot to offer to her fellow classmates, inspiring to become better at their art. Also, part of her role this year has involved mentoring and helping others with their projects. Wow. So basically, she is a motivated, independent human, said Mrs. Mallion. She'll help anybody, anything I could ever ask her to do. She would do it. With ceramic being a strong passion and enjoyable activity for Thomas in her life. It is not the only thing that sparks her interest. In the fall, Thomas would be attending the University of Michigan. She graduated about last 4 years to major in chemistry, but plans to continue incorporating art into her life. She also to travel out for the country, also to experience new cultures, and along with that, the different styles of art around the world. I'm probably going to be spending a lot of time down in the university art room and planning and drawing for the relaxations at Thomas. So that's his former sports editor for Anna Palmer. Her his brother her brother was her brother was with me, so my good friends for opportunity, and I read this about news today about last 5 years ago. Then since we worked to these one's an opportunity for the 5 years ago with the ceramics class. So Donovan and I, strange things. That could be 13 years, 7 years. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Let me drink some water. So it's gonna be the cost of mine smoking coffee. I'm so sorry about that, guys. So sorry. Alright, guys. So don't forget to hit the button to subscribe to my content. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or find cameras, Cockstory, Cockatah, Tumblr, and like the comments and link in the description. So please honor by follow me on the Twitter, Instagram, so YouTube channels and Facebooks, however if you can. So just remember, guys, so we can do videos thing for leftover Thanksgiving food for turkey, ham, dressing of stuffing, green beans and casseroles, mashed potatoes, potato salads, and cornbreads and dinner rolls, and pretty good. So I love things. So however, I love eating I love eating about the food nutrition here on the Thanksgiving. As much as you working about 1,000 calories every day on leftover Thanksgiving. 1,000 calories for food nutrition facts. Feel free, you could get some of the food nutrition facts on Thanksgiving. Please don't forget, keep it rich, mateys. Have a good evening. Good night.